Hello dear students, how are you? Today we are going to make a revision on lesson 3, what is heat. I hope you have studied it well. But first let's check together your previous homeworks together. Then we are going to remember the main points of this lesson and answering some questions together. First of all, the first homework was this one. I hope you have done it. Match. Let me remind you. Here is the definition of each form of energy, and here are the forms of energy. So I have said before, it's easier to start from this column. So let's start with the first one. The energy that comes from the electric current. Here is a key word, by the way, in each one. In each sentence, in each definition of each form of energy, here is a key word, which make it easier to you. For example, the energy that comes from the electric current. We have said before that the energy coming from the electric current is called electrical energy. The next one, the energy something has because of its position. Position. So here is another keyword for potential energy. The energy released by a chemical change. Here is also the keyword of chemical energy. The energy of motion. Motion. Which refers to kinetic energy. The energy produced by a vibrating object. Vibrating object always produces sound energy. The energy that enables us to see. Enables us to see. Of course, light energy. And the last one, the sum of both kinetic and potential energies. The sum of kinetic and potential energies together is mechanical energy. I hope you have done it correct. And the second one was this dialogue between Rebecca and Abdullah. We are going to fill these missing parts in this dialogue. Let's see. Let's read together. Rebecca saying, "Oh, how did my cell phone get so hot, Abdullah? Well, there are how many ways that heat could have moved in your cell phone? How many ways of transfer of heat? 3 ways, yes. You can also write different ways. It's okay. So there are 3 ways that heat could have moved into your phone." Rebecca said, "I know. If it had been sitting in the sunlight, I'd know it was heated through sunlight. So it will be through radiation, as we have said before. But it was in the shade." So Abdullah said, "Well, there is also convection, the second one. So if it is not radiation, maybe it's convection." But Rebecca said, "Yeah, but that only happens within space and space. Convection, it happens only within, but my phone is solid. So convection happens in, as we have said before, liquids and gases. But Rebecca's phone is solid." Okay, Abdullah said, "Then it must have been the third way. So the third way is, if it is not radiation or convection, so it should be conduction." Rebecca said, "But that only happens when 2 things are each other. Conduction, when our 2 things are touching each other. My phone was sitting by itself." Abdullah said, "Where?" Rebecca said, "On top of my laptop." Abdullah, in that case, he travels into your cell phone through conduction, because in this way the cell phone is touching directly the laptop. Rebecca said, "Really? How does it do that?" Abdullah said, "Heat moves from warm objects to cool objects. So your laptop was probably much warmer than your cell phone. That's why it is transferred by conduction." So Rebecca said, "Finally, maybe I leave it on my wooden desktop from now on." Okay, I hope you have done this correct. If it is not correct, you can correct the wrong answers of your homework. It's here. So now let's remember together the main points of lesson 3. What is heat? Heat is the energy that moves between objects of different temperatures, as we have said before. Again, heat is a form of energy that moves between objects of different temperature, which means heat moves from the object of higher temperature to one with lower temperature. From the higher temperature to the lower temperature one. Then we have studied that heat can move or can transfer through in three different ways, which are, let's remember together, conduction, convection, and radiation. Again, there are three different ways of transfer of energy, which are conduction, convection, radiation. Conduction occurs when two bodies or two objects touch and transfer energy. So it must be in this way of transferring of energy, the two objects touching each other. Two solid objects touching each other. But in convection, it occurs when liquids or gases. Here only for liquids and gases, not in solids. Transfer energy through movement of particles, because we've said that movement of particles is easier in liquids and gases, as we have said before, while radiation occurs when heat waves, like the sun, transfer energy through air or empty space, like the heat of the sun through the space transferred to the earth. By the way, in some cases, heat can transfer by both convection and radiation, both of them, like campfire and electric heater. You know the campfire? Electric heater? Yes, in campfire and electric heater, the heat can be transferred by convection and radiation, both of them. Here, maybe convection and radiation together. Here is also convection and radiation. So again, in some cases, like campfire and electric heater, the heat can transfer by both convection and radiation. Now, let's do an exercise together. Choose the correct answer. Number 1. Jessie knows that the conduction is a form of heat energy transfer. Which transfer of heat energy is made through conduction? Again, Jessie knows that conduction is a form of heat energy transfer. Which transfer of heat energy is made through conduction? Let's see. Hands heat a snowball, or radiator warms a home, or boiling water heats pasta, or sun warms a greenhouse. Which one refers to conduction? Yeah, the first one. Hands heat a snowball. Why? Because there are two bodies touching each other. While radiator warms a home, radiator means electric heater, yes. We have said before, we have said since a while, it should be by convection and radiation. Boiling water heats pasta. Boiling water, liquids, means convection. And sun warms a greenhouse means sun, the heat of the sun transferred by radiation. So conduction, the only one sentence, the sentence number 1. Number 2. On a warm sunny day, a cat sits on a rock. Which word explains why the cat feels heat from the sun? So heat from the sun, as we have said, which kind of the transferring of heat forms? Is it convection, friction, conduction, radiation? Heat from the sun. Of course, friction is not one of the ways of transfer of heat, so it will not be friction. Is it convection, conduction, or radiation? Of course, radiation, because it's the heat of the sun. As we have said before, the heat of the sun is transferred to the earth by radiation. Each picture, number 3, each picture shows a source of heat. Which picture shows heat transfer through convection? Convection this time. So the first one, or the second, the third, or the fourth? Which one refers to convection? Number 1, the sun is heating the water of the pool. Number 2, the sun warms a greenhouse. You know the greenhouse? Yes, there is a plant inside making its own food. The third one, boiling of water. Boiling of water. The third one, hands touching a piece of ice. Hands touching a piece of ice means conduction, because there are two solids touching each other, two bodies touching each other. And the sun, always its heat transferred to the earth by radiation, as we have said before. But boiling of water or transferring of heat through liquids, it will be by convection. So the third one is right. Another exercise, match. Here is the 3 ways of transfer of heat, and the other there are some pictures. Let's match together which one will be transferred by these ones. And here is conduction, by the way, conduction, convection, radiation, and the fourth one, convection and radiation together. So let's see the pictures. Which of these pictures, which of these examples transferred by conduction, and which one by convection, and which by radiation, and which by convection and radiation together? For example, electric heater. Electric heater, or let's start with conduction. Conduction, which one? Which one? Yes, the spoon. The spoon becomes hot touching the hot soup, as we have said in our previous lesson. So it will be conduction, 2 objects touching each other. Convection, in liquids and gases. Is here any liquid? Yeah, this one, the boiler, heating water. Radiation, radiation, like the transfer of heat of the sun to the earth. You can see this cat, cute cat, having a sunbath, exposed to the sun. While convection and radiation together, as we have said since a while, like an electric space heater, the heat transferred from the electric heater by both convection and radiation. Okay, so study this exercise very well, and the other one is also well. Here is an exercise for you. You can do it as homework, and we are gonna check it together our next meeting. So it's about the changes of energy. Changes of energy. For example, in batteries, which kind or which form of energy changes to which form of energy? You are gonna do it. And in the electric iron, which energy changes into which energy? For example, the electric iron is working by electricity, right? So the electrical energy changes to what? Electrical energy changes to what? The electric iron gives us or produces, yes, heat energy. Heat energy. So, for example, in the electric iron, the electrical energy changes to heat energy. And so on. In the electric radio, as we have said before, it works by electricity, so it will be electric energy changes to producing the music, means sound energy. And you are going to continue by the same way. Here is a plant making its own food. Here is a matchstick. Matchstick, by the way, produces 2 kinds of energy. Think of it. Here is an electric heater. Here is an electric lamp. Also the electric lamp, by the way, produces 2 kinds of energy. Think of it until our next meeting. And here is gasoline in the car. We have said before, the gasoline in the car changes which energy to which one. So you are going to do this exercise as homework, and we are going to check it in our next meeting. Study well lesson 1 and lesson 3 in this unit 9. Okay, until our next meeting. Thank you. Bye bye.